High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, X. We've got Instagram. Oh, shoot. Got to click that go live on Instagram. They always have these extra steps on Instagram. But it's Revening's WinsDay. Welcome to WinsDay, Revenue Party people. We have our hot guests and our hot topics. We're going to get right into it. But I've got to mention Cherry Assistant first. Big shout out to Cherry Assistant. You can't get by and grow a business without delegating. And when you are first getting started, working with a virtual assistant is a great way. So I'm sure there's some tasks that you have on hand that you shouldn't be doing. You should be delegating. Scan that QR code, or if you're listening on podcast later on, go to cherryassistant.com and talk to them about a VA. Maybe you need a bookkeeper. Maybe you need an executive assistant. I've got a producer here behind the screen, but that's what we do here. Maybe there's something else that you need. When you contact Cherry Assistant, let them know that you heard about them through WinsDay for $250 off your first month. And also, I have to tell you about High Level. It's $97 a month to get started. And you get 3 accounts for a CRM and marketing automation platform. These things aren't rocket science anymore. SaaS is not super expensive, but it is so robust. I highly suggest using it. We've white labeled it. So when businesses work with Revening, we're able to give them an account. So we now call it app.revening.com, which is what our clients know it as, but it's High Level under the hood, just white labeled. So if you're curious about that, or you're shopping around, hello on YouTube. And if you're here, let us know you're here. Leave a comment. We want to make this episode for you. Let us know, where are you tuning in from? What is interesting in sales and marketing to you? Trust is huge. Trust is hard to build. And we're going to be getting into that a little bit on this April Fool's Day. And I'm not fooling around about that. We really do want to hear your comments. Hear your comments, see your comments, put them in there. Let us know. But until then, let's bring on our guests and welcome. I'm excited to welcome. We've got Seva and Gal. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into it. I'm going to put that clock up on the screen, or ask Layla to. And if you could fill us in on your full life story from birth to what brought you to now. Before we get into all these sales and marketing topics, we want to learn the real human you. So what do you think? Gal, can you kick us off?
Sure. So my origin story is very unique in the sense that I never thought that I'm going to be in advertising, because as I was kind of growing up, my dream was to be a journalist. And I got to do that in Israel, where I was born, and then serve as a military journalist, and then trying to find a way to go to school of communications after having a military reporting experience was very difficult. the country that produces most of the news in the world at any given time didn't have a communication degree, like a bachelor's degree. So I wound up coming as a foreign student to the US, and I was age 21. I wasn't looking for staying in college and having the experience of college because I was an adult by then. So I finished my undergrad in 2.5 years, radio, television, and film at Temple University in Philadelphia. And fast forward, got an MBA in telecommunications management, which was kind of one of the first techno MBAs. And as I was kind of graduating with a master's degree from George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia, I saw a new economy coming, which was kind of the economy of flipping itself from having 5 big companies that are all the employers of the major economic powers to having a lot of small to mid-sized companies that needed marketing, advertising, and marketing support of everything from content marketing, which they called copywriting at the time, all the way to creating brands for companies. And that's really kind of where, after working for 1 year only for a small telecommunication company in my area in Washington, D.C., I basically said, I'm going to start my own agency. And my own agency, called the Borenstein Group, started in 1995. I just can't believe it when I even tell that story. But most importantly, I only had $2,000 in loans via credit card. And that's what started the company. Our tagline was making creativity a science, which was basically the premise that I had for the company. That the way we're going to compete was we're going to go after technology companies and people that felt unappreciated, which are now the geniuses, the engineers, the people that come up with AI, cybersecurity, analytics, whatever it was. So we started as a niche player, and we stayed with B2B and B2G marketing. And as I run the Borenstein Group as a branding agency in the Washington, D.C. area for technology companies, the 2 other things that I did was start writing about in form of articles on LinkedIn, and only to find out that I need to write kind of a letter, if you will, to CEOs and to leaders of companies that forgot what trust is in the system of values as it relates to creating trusted brands. And in the past few years, since COVID to now, we have a significant erosion of trust. And in my new book, Don't Believe the Hype, When Trust is on the Line, I kind of outline a framework that CEOs and leaders of companies can actually look and say, hey, this is the way I can start probing and adjust the model to what I need to do to make sure that we're a trusted brand on the outside and we're a trusted brand with our employees, with our culture, management, executives, and staff.
That is so good and so important too. Culture is important. Well, thank you for that. Well, Seva, how about you? We're looking for your full life story from birth to what brought you now before we get into all these marketing topics.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the CEO and founder of Plurio AI, but actually, like at first, I was a computer science student, won National Olympics, took second place at Intel Science and Engineering Fair, but at the time, developing things was painfully slow. So I decided to go the other way, and me and my co-founder and other friends, we launched our first business. It was a marketing agency, performance marketing agency mostly. And that became surprisingly successful. We've been doing it for 15 years, scaled to 100 plus full-time employees, traveled the world, managed millions of dollars in ad spend. And that took like 15 years, like basically half of my life. After that, I got a little bit like bored of that side of the business and decided to launch marketing data platform. Like the line of thought was like, okay, what's sits in the core of what we're doing for our customers to help them grow their business using digital channels. That's data and data-driven marketing and making the right decisions. So we decided to start to make a data platform. We grew that to like dozens of customers, almost 100. And I saw that our marketers, they really look at our dashboards that we provide for hours, jumping back and forth between dashboards and ad platforms, like thinking like what to do next, taking actions. So when agentic era came, we decided to actually build an agent that would do that work for marketers. Like, why would you manually optimize things in ad accounts when you can ask your agents to do all of that for you with all the guardrails and safety and algorithms you decide, and that would be faster, easier, more efficient, and frankly more fun. So currently we're building Plurio as a AI agent for performance marketing for companies spending like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars per month on Google, Meta, TikTok, and similar channels. And yeah, this is where I am now, and happy to share more interesting stuff with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be talking with both of you. This is going to be a great conversation. Obviously, we have some experts with us. So let's get into it. So our first topic is maintaining brand trust in a world of fake reviews. So later we're going to be talking more about AI and automation and all these tech tools. But it's really important that we remain, trustworthy through all of that. It's very easy to send messages that are just like, hyper canned, a little too long, not sounding human. Also, fake reviews. Oh man, we could talk about fake reviews all day. Like, people are paying for reviews out there. There's so many websites. I don't want to call them out, but yeah. Could you kick us off on this topic, Gal? I believe this is yours.
Sure. So as I kind of advise CEOs and leadership in companies as a branding strategist, I found very often that there is an erosion of trust that has happened since COVID. What COVID did is really kind of disconnected us from the kind of human-centric interaction that people have. Whether it's shaking a hand or going to a meeting, meeting new people, and going down the hall, or doing anything in the meeting room where you could see people's reactions, people's emotional intelligence, people's intelligence, or no intelligence at all, depending on who's in the meeting, of course. But when COVID hit, and suddenly the only tool that was left was kind of video conferencing, or like Zoom or Teams or WebEx, and you got 10 people or 20 people on the call, then was the introduction of distributed workforce, which is still the new model of expanding and promoting the business in terms of overhead. Something happened. And what happened was that the messaging that companies had, which are called a narrative, that would go from inside the company to outside the company, which is called marketing and sales and branding and advertising. Suddenly, what happened is the narrative changed, because no longer with the introduction of social media and review sites, whether it's a product, it's a service, or like a G2 exchange, or for technology, or trust pilot site for products in consumer world. The idea that we own the narrative of our brand is no longer true. We don't own it, because whatever we say is now being scrutinized by an outside part of the world, which we don't control. We don't control what people can say about us in social media, or LinkedIn for that matter. We'd like interaction, of course, but we don't control it. It's freedom of speech globally. And then on top of that, we have a lot of fake reviews. And the fake reviews started as something that was for very kind of low-end products on maybe Amazon or Temu or places like that, where you're just basically saying 5 stars for the product, and that builds credibility. Now AI is generating scripts for people that all they do is creating fake reviews. And the summary of it really is that people don't trust anymore anything that they see online. Even when you go to Amazon, which is where I host my books, people don't trust that necessarily what they see is what is true. People are questioning something that they see on social media, and because it's a deep fake that is very hard to detect. People don't necessarily trust their management. In fact, there's a statistic from a recent study that was done that shows that 80% of management believes that their employees trust them. And 90% of employees said that they don't trust their management. So think about company culture, think about values, and think about taking that to the outside world where you don't trust it internally. And then you take the message to the outside and it basically bounces back to you via bad product reviews and overall degrades your reputation as a company. So it's a really big topic, but at the core of it is there's lack of transparency, there's a lack of collaboration, there's a lack of clear governance of data within AI, and specifically AI agents that are being created, obviously, in the speed that is needed for the business side, but are not necessarily stopping and thinking about the ethics, the disclosure, and the things that really kind of make the difference between being authentic and being fake. So that's really kind of the core issue that comes with how do you basically survive and stay brand resilient in the age of AI for a company. And I think it's a big challenge. And I think that what's happening right now, most companies are going through the FOMO stage, which is let's invest in AI agents, which I'm all for, but there's not enough time to consider what are the consequences. And most importantly, what's the brand reputation that you're going to have if you don't prove something that mass replicates itself 1,000 times. So yes, you can send 10,000 emails and get 1,500 leads, but if there's no quality assurance and there's no subject matter expert that is actually creating the program rather than just coding it, you're automating a mistake. You're not automating a solution.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting to talk about fake reviews too. I would love to hear people in the comments. We've all seen fake reviews. Like, what kind of fake reviews come to mind for you? I mean, people are buying fake reviews everywhere. Like, people are getting paid to do reviews. I get paid. Like, it's like 50 cents a piece every time I review something on TikTok. It's kind of crazy. I could just sit there all day. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Just like, some are worth more than others. Or like, in the B2B world, you have, what's that website? G2? I don't know if those are fake reviews. Yeah. So like, the more reviews you have, the higher you get ranked. So of course, everyone's trying to like get those reviews in there, and it's like, okay. So yeah, I don't know. That's one thing, and that's one reason why I'm really into organic marketing and going live specifically, because this is real. We can talk to you in the comments. You got a question, you're watching. There's 5 of you on YouTube. I don't know how many there are on LinkedIn or Instagram. But like, you're here, and if you have a question, you can talk to us. We're real human beings, and that's trust. But if I put like an overly produced image on LinkedIn and it looks like an ad, people are less likely to look at it, engage with it, and then they lose trust with you. And then all the other stuff you're talking about, like company culture, and that's a hard one. But it is
It's
so
not as
true.
hard as you think. If you think about
Yeah.
what is basically as citizens, we have a constitution in the United States, right? And that's basically, freedom of speech, for example. You can argue how much freedom of speech, but freedom of speech is a value that is part of the culture and part of the framework that we all live under in the United States. So if you think along that line, every company has an ethos, which is kind of the why. Why do we exist? For example, Apple think differently, or anybody else that basically has that thing. That really kind of should permeate from having the employees believe in it, management believe in it, which becomes then your brand promise to the market. And then when you go to market, you have to do promises made, promises kept, and then deal and be interactive through AI, through social media, to create a digital footprint for your brand, to be resilient. Because even if you got a bad review on something, but you still have content and strategy and thinking that your company is unique and differentiates itself on its ethos and its cultural values, and people on the outside believe that you have values to begin with, that's the difference. And that's where authenticity plays the highest role.
Absolutely. Seva, I'm curious, what's your take on all of this?
Oh, I have a completely opposite take.
Share it, please.
Obviously there are some people and companies that have let's call it fake intentions, that want to maybe just grow business at any cost. But most of the people, they have really good intentions. I truly believe in that. But the problem is making things work. So think about how hard it is to organize a picnic with friends, or start a small business like a cafe or restaurant or something like that, and how many things go wrong. Now imagine how hard it is to build a larger brand, larger company. And I truly believe that AI agents will only help with that, because managing hundreds of employees or running thousands of campaigns, it's hard in itself. But when you're empowered with agents, that becomes a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable, and it will become a step forward to higher authenticity, not less.
That's a great point.
Yep.
I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, kind of in the world that we live in, Seva, as you kind of described, you're basically saying there are true problems of productivity with good companies that want to achieve something. And you're basically kind of accelerating the solution to make it more effective in the marketplace. And as a result, those companies will grow if they're doing all the right things. But sometimes, in reverse, when it comes to kind of brand messaging, you got to think about what is the solution and what is the problem. Sometimes there are problems in search of solutions, but sometimes there are solutions in search of problems. And a lot of technology, many times, comes so much ahead in time vis-a-vis starting an idea and innovating. It creates basically the issue that, the famous adage about no law has ever been legislated about the traffic light before somebody died. Nobody put a traffic light in an intersection before people died. Right? I don't want to be that dramatic, but the point being, the ideal situation for brand resilience and continuing to not have erosion of trust is making sure that what is handed to you, even as a partner, performance partner, is to make sure that the story and the narrative and whatever the automation, we're not automating the problem. And the problem that I say is not the automation, the problem is automating the substance or the content that could be completely wrong or not vetted or not completely accurate as it relates to what people need. And then when you basically help a company with 50 people or 500 people, force multiply to doing 500 times again, which is wonderful. The question is, are we going to kill the brand of the company if it's a mistake, which is not yours? It's the content creator's fault or the company's fault for not doing that work. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I agree with literally everything you said and come to the opposite conclusion.
How
Imagine
so?
something bad happens to your brand, and you have dozen of people, couple of agencies running marketing for your brand. Something bad happened, and now you have to change the culture, the processes, the checklists, the safety protocols, the brand review, all of that just to avoid those problems. That is a massive process in itself. Now think about a moment where eliminating that kind of problem would be like a one evening task, just working with your Cloud code, adjusting your workflows and safety guidelines, and all of that. Yes, there will be mistakes, but fixing and building systems that are resilient to those mistakes is so much easier than when you don't have those tools.
I agree with you, and it's a terrific point. And I think what we're talking about together is kind of that ecosystem that provides the solution, but also identifies the problem. And it's just basically the sequencing sometimes. What I see in branding and talking to CEOs of companies is they're not really aware of all that. They just say, let's put AI because it's faster or because it will produce productivity, but not asking the question about what productivity are we going to get that will affect and impact more than just the sales, but also maybe recruitment and all type of other things that go under what we call a company brand. So I agree with you 100%.
Agreed.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, let's move into our second topic, which is all about AI-driven marketing automation. So, Seva, could you kick us off on this topic?
Sure. So basically, my whole life, I've been in performance marketing, almost since the launch of Google Ads and paid search, and then display ads, and then Meta and social ads, and all those networks and everything. For marketers, it's on the one hand, it's a beautiful journey of getting more and more tools and inventory and abilities to bring their message, acquire, target right audience, acquire customers, build better business. On the other hand, it becomes so frustrating to spend hours per day managing those hundreds of thousands of campaigns, ad sets, creatives. I think everybody, it's a common knowledge that running meta campaigns is a constant flywheel and pretty struggling process where you create new ads, new ideas. You launch them, and only 5% of them actually become winners. Only 5% of your ads bring 80-90% of revenue and profits. Then you have to babysit those campaigns. When you run ads for e-commerce brands or for retail brands, it's relatively easy. The automation is there, and you can just use ad platforms to manage that for you. But when you run ads for applications, consumer subscriptions, fintech, health tech, any kind of services, that becomes a problem because you have delayed conversions, you have long tail LTV, you look at your ad performance, and you don't know what actually works and what doesn't until you wait for a few days or a few weeks when those leads and trials actually convert. So I literally see marketers spending 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours a day looking at dashboards and changing things in their ad campaigns manually. Yes, they can do some kind of automation, but only on ad platform data, and like that's just not enough. And what I see with our clients, it's like a huge relief when you can just ask an agent like, hey, go analyze hundreds of my ad sets, hundreds of creatives, and suggest what exactly should I do and what is the highest priority. Which of those are actually not working and should be killed? Which of those are actually working and should be scaled and ideally scaled faster? Which of those start to burn out, and what should we do with them and at which point? And how we can like reallocate budget in general between channels, between campaigns, between regions, between specific ad sets. And like brands and companies at scale, they have thousands of them, and that becomes a huge problem. So agents can do exactly what you asked it to do, and bring you the real results. So instead of doing that manually, you can just work with the results of this process. If you don't like the process, you just ask an agent to fine tune it a little bit. Like, hey, you made a mistake here. Next time, don't do it, please. It takes time. It's not like a one evening thing. It might take like a week, two weeks, a few weeks, but after that, it just works almost exactly like pretty consistently, like 99% consistently, saving a ton of time, suggesting decisions faster, better, more accurately based on the data. And when you get used to that, you can ask an agent to actually create automations. So convert those AI workflows that are 90%, 99% accurate, but not 100% accurate, into actual automation with rules to fully automate that without any mistakes, using your own logic that can be improved over time. So basically, this process alone eliminates like maybe 30% of the most hated part of the work of performance marketers, while improving efficiency and giving the team superpowers. And that's what's working today. And I'm not even talking about how is it possible to analyze like hundreds of parameters of your creatives and audiences, and what's the right combination and match, and should you try next. Analyzing your competitors, hooks, what really captures attention,
Yeah,
finding
definitely.
those little gaps that doesn't work and should be like you cannot do that manually with your own eyes. You don't have enough time and attention. An agent have pretty much infinite attention as long as you know how to run them.
Yeah, you have to have the skill. So question in the comments, babysitting campaigns is the perfect way to describe it. Feels like you blink and performance drops. Do you think AI will actually fix this or just add more noise?
Depending on like your skills, at first it would add everything, efficiency and noise, but over time, I think everyone will just adapt a little bit. It's just like, it has the same learning curve as any new technology. So at first you play with it, then you make a few mistakes, then you get better, and then it just works. So when we think about like these early days, you might have a criticism like, hey, I tried it once and it didn't work. Of course it didn't. Like spend a little bit, like have a little bit more trust in that, like play with it on like minor scale. And then once you see it's working, then you can expand to all of your campaigns or all of your products, regions, channels, teams.
So I have a question for you, for the audience. I think very fascinating to hear what you're describing is really kind of an industrial revolution in marketing, especially. one of the things that, I talk about in my book about trust is really kind of the fact that we still need a human being with a heart, with sentiments and ability to make emotional decisions when it comes to anything. And as far as now, I don't feel or haven't seen, maybe you can share with us from your perspective, how do we basically bring that authenticity, number one, to any kind of AI agent creation? So it has the human in it, even though it's all about the numbers at the end of the day. And then the second part is, how do you basically govern it so it actually meets all the expectations of a brand from that perspective?
Great question. And like it splits into like separate things there. So on the authenticity and even like the soul behind your ads and creatives and brand, remember those times or stories about those times when like artists painting pictures with a brush said that like, hey, at least like cameras are not real, it's not art, it doesn't have a soul. And then everyone gets used to it and really saw that it takes like a fresh perspective and taste to make that like art. And then the same happened with digital cameras. And now the same happened with illustrations and any kind of computer design work. And now that happens with AI. The thing is, behind even the most sophisticated autonomous AI agents, there are real humans, either on like in-house teams or on agency side or on platform side. But somebody you can actually talk to is responsible for what those agents are doing. So I don't feel like it's going to be an issue of that scale that everyone is scared of, because ultimately there are real humans with taste, with heart, with soul that actually make those decisions and adjust those agents if that like deviates from what is an ideal outcome for a brand.
So you don't think people are going to be replaced by the robots, huh?
Say it again?
So you don't think the marketing folks are going to be retired in favor
by the robots
that are doing the same job?
The job will change, but I don't like. I think the opposite will happen. Like creating physical products became relatively easy with the platforms and automation and outsourcing and all of that. Creating digital products became much easier, at least prototypes, and then scaling. So there will be so many new products that marketers will have a job for life, even with agents 10xing their powers.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be getting into all of that and more after this brief break. We'll be right back.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
At Reviting, we help B2B founders, executives, brands turn their live streaming into a real revenue channel. One live stream turns into a podcast. It turns into a social clip. It turns into email content like a newsletter. and actual sales conversations. You get to have a lot of conversations with people when you have a podcast or a live stream like this. And if you want to be known, trusted, and remembered in your industry without being online 24/7, worrying about your posting, this is what we do. Just head on over to reviting.com and let's build your show.
I want to give a quick testimonial for the Reviting team and Jessie. I was really nervous about doing lives. And so thanks to Jessie and her team, I've now been doing them for, I think, 7 or 8 months now. The other thing is they very much have helped me increase my reach and online presence. So thank you, Reviting and Jessie.
One of the problems that we struggle with is getting our brand out there. What Jessie and her team have been able to do for us is to take advantage of LinkedIn and the idea of going live on LinkedIn and using that platform to its fullest extent through the way they're able to take the live event and break it down into bite-sized posts. Their team shows up very organized. They were able to take what was limited in terms of how our brand shows up, but actually turn that into visualizations for the different shows, the video clips that are being taken, as well as the content within the posts themselves.
Jessie, I love what you and the team do. You make it so easy for me to get in, have a meaningful conversation with some amazing guests, and then watch the post-production. But I've been picking up 50 followers a day just because that content is resonating so well. And I've had a number of people reach out to me who want to be guests on the show. So it's working across a lot of different channels for me, and I can't thank you enough.
Awesome. I love that ad. But let's get right back into these topics because we're talking. Oh, thank you, Layla. I just clicked on top of you. I'll let you pull it back up. Maintaining brand resilience in the age of AI. So, Gal, I'm going to pass it back to you. Can you kick us off?
Sure. So here's the reality. In the new world, your brand really depends on your digital footprint outside your company. It's nice to have a website, and the website starts with building trust when somebody visits it. But the attention span of people has become so short. Think about YouTube Short. And when they're looking at your website first, which is your opportunity to tell your narrative and your story, they're looking at signals of trust. And signals of trust could be, for example, do you have clients? Do you show off who your clients are? Do you have case studies that talk about what you do? If you can't talk about what you do in a case study, do you have user case scenarios? And then you go to the press room. And I can tell you today, I went to 6 different websites in technology companies that have their last press release from 2019 as part of their brand. How many people are going to trust that in the age where you can get a responsive website from another company that basically shows you all those trust signals in place? So I think the first part of the equation is own it and create accountability within your company as a marketer to make sure that you have all those trust signals in place, and don't wait for somebody to insult your website from the outside on a golf course where 2 CEOs are talking about it. And there's a story that I heard many times, and it's not a legend, it actually happened, where a CEO meets another CEO on a golf course here in Washington, D.C. area. And one asked the other, how many employees does your company have? And, the big guy says, we've got 6,000 employees. And the other company CEO says, well, we have 20,000 employees. And the guys look at each other and say, how is it possible? We visited each other's website. And the answer is image. And image is not just visuals. Image is words. It's content. The more content you have to prove that you're an expert in a niche environment, even when the word looks broad, it isn't. You got to create differentiation and niche on your website, and you got to support it by proof points. And if you have those proof points, then you can parlay that into different use of content, as you described before in the previous segment, and what your company does. But the other part is when you go outside, what do you do with the brand and how do you create that resilience is to literally continue generating new content assets and promulgate them and distribute them in all the places where decision makers and prospects and your community of interest is going to be. I can tell you what not to do, which is as important. Not sending a signal of trust if you're just putting something on X or on Instagram to an audience that is not related to your interest. You might get 3 more clicks or 3 more followers, but that is meaningless in terms of business, especially in business to business, where you're looking to people to look at you as the expert. If it's a service, if it's an application, they're looking for a community of users to impress. So what I always emphasize when you're talking about how to keep your brain resilient in this age where you have all these tools, having the tools doesn't mean that you're actually accomplishing the mission. You really got to focus on who's your target audience and then create those content assets and make sure that they exist as proof points on your website, on your media, if you will, that you own, but then in the digital footprint, wherever people look. Like, for example, LinkedIn for business to business. That's a perfect example of it.
Yes, definitely. It is a great example. Real quick response to that, Seva?
I mean,
Thoughts?
it makes total sense. Like, yeah, just agree here.
Yeah, 100%. It's a lot of work to build that resilience, but yeah, thanks for talking us through that. Let's move on real quick because we do only have 10 minutes left on AI agents for performance marketing. So talk to us about what the agents are doing with performance marketing these days, Seva.
Yeah, I kind of talked a little bit about that already. Like you can send I want to reiterate maybe like specific aha moments that really converts people from being like skeptics to really loving the technology. The first one, at first I didn't think it would be a thing, but it turns out it is. So imagine head of performance marketing or head of user acquisition responsible for hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars in ad spend, managing a team, having like some kind of dashboards built by a marketing operations team, and juggling too many things, having calls with the team and with everyone on the team and agency. And in the end of the day, doing actual research and thinking like, what is the next thing? How can we improve performance? How can we make better creatives? How can we automate stuff and save time? And if that data that is required for that research is not in your dashboard, then you have to like create a task for your team, wait for a day or a week or a month just to get the data to prove or discard your hypothesis about like something in your marketing system. With agents, you can just ask a question and get a full research in like 1 or 2 minutes. And you can iterate on that many times. And that feels like, wow, now I have wings. Now I can fly. Now I can do things that I only dreamed about. And now it's in my hands. So again, I didn't thought that would be a thing, but turns out it is, because it's the most interesting and creative part of the work of media buying teams and user acquisition teams. The second layer is those. Yeah, the second layer are those workflows. Just send your agent do the repetitive work you do and check the results and improve that day by day, week by week until it works exactly as you want it, and just forget about that part of work completely, or move to the next level of management. That saves time, that saves money, that helps you achieve KPIs, that helps everyone. And then the third layer is like real automation. So you can send your agents to explore on your ad accounts and your data platform numbers. What is the exactly right point to stop creators that are not winners and stop losing money on those? What is the exact right moment to start scaling those? What other optimization points or things to improve there? And automating that just like makes perfect sense for everyone involved in this process, for media buyers, for management, for the business, for consumers. Everything just works a little better and a little bit more efficient with those systems. And that is possible today. So I'm describing only things that works today. We can talk about the future, but like that's the separate thing. I can hear you. The mic is muted.
Of course, I've got my coffee mug here. It says, "You are on mute." That's not the first time I've done
I
that.
want that one.
Yes, exactly. I've been known to stay on mute, but yeah, no, thank you for summing all of that up for us. It's really great. I haven't done performance marketing in a hot minute, but there was a time, I think in like 2017, I was doing Facebook ads, Google ads. And then I became that marketer. I was B2B SaaS primarily, and I would go into companies and shut down all the ads and then watch and see what would happen with the leads and be like, are the leads going to keep coming in? Or like, what happened here? That's always my favorite test, especially these days. I've just become more of an organic marketer. I feel like ads got hard, but you do need ads to scale at the end of the day. So it's always good to hear what Agentic is doing, especially with ads. So thank you with AI. So thanks for talking about performance marketing. Let's get into the guru of the week. I think we've got a quick video for you.
The guru of the week. Ooh, the guru of the week. Ooh.
Awesome. Don't have to sing that because I sang it a million times before. So who are your gurus of the week? Please tell us about these people and let's go follow them on LinkedIn.
Well, for me, it's Simon Sinek. I think most people know him from TED Talks that he does and from his books. And early on, which is like 5 years ago, when they start reading his books, and the first one was Why. It really kind of helped me center the vision for the business and reshape the vision of the business as things and trends continue to change, especially in marketing, branding, and public relations. Nothing stays the same. And I urge anybody that actually is interested in exploring to buy these books on Amazon, because the why may be different for each one, but having a purpose and delivering that purpose into the what and the how you do it is really kind of the formula for success if you're a thinking individual and want to kind of execute with a heart, with a passion, and of course with the professionalism and high-tech performance that we're all looking for.
Awesome. Can you tell us about your guru, Seth?
Sure. I want to like promote Matt Shanton. He's not like a guru, yeah, like Simon. It's just, you know, in every profession, you have 1% of people who really know what they're doing and willing to share that with the community. So Matt Shanton's like, he personally runs large-scale ad accounts and doing a great job there, and runs a New York paid search community of marketers, and shares like articles and insights on his LinkedIn page. And like we've done a joint webinar last week. So again, it's not like a visionary guy. He's more like a real professional, and I feel like he deserves much more followers and much more engagement because of what he's doing.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. We should all go follow and be more like both of those people. Thank you both so much for sharing your guru of the week. And before we go, we just want to ask a little bit more about both of you. If you could both just tell us a little bit more about yourself, who it is you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you? Gal?
Well, as you can find me on the LinkedIn profile, what we offer at the Borenstein Group, and I offer individually as a strategic consultant, is helping technology companies in B2B and B2G, which is business to government, really kind of get their message right to make sure that it's believable, that it's authentic, and it's really kind of also science-based because we actually did voice of the customer interviews. We validated the competitive environment and messaging. And if you want to reach us at www.borensteingroup.com, we'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And how about you, Seva?
So my company is called Plurio AI. It's basically an AI agent that runs performance marketing for teams managing hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in ad spend on Google, Meta, TikTok, especially those that have more sophisticated sales funnels, like generating leads, signups, trials, subscriptions. So companies that have or don't have their own data platforms, BI dashboards, and all of that. So we build agents to work with all of that for them. And we're gradually moving to fully autonomous systems, at first on the ad optimization side, but later with other stages of ad management cycle as well. Analysis, creatives, settings, targeting, all of that. And like, it's extremely exciting. I've been dreaming about this moment for basically my whole life, to be on the cutting edge of technology and at the same time being a domain expert in what I'm doing. And like, I love it. We just announced our seed round. We raised 4.5 million in total. We work with Nobu subsidiary, Phenom from Europe, huge fintech, and a lot of other customers. And I mean, it's a perfect time to dive into agentic future. And this is what I'm doing myself as well. And I'm sharing that on LinkedIn about my personal use cases, how we use Cursor and Cloud Code across the whole company, experiments with personal AI agents, and how those interact with services and our own AI agents. So just sharing my journey and insights about this AI first, AI native future, especially focusing on like real cases, not news, not visionary hype, but like what works today inside my company, for me personally, and for my friends. Like, I saw that with my eyes.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, both of you. I know we're a minute over, so we're going to go ahead and close us out with the video. Hopefully, I'll see both of you backstage. But audience, before we go, I just want to make sure and share next week's episode. We have two more really great guests. Gal, Seva, I hope you can tune in. We will have Alex and George joining us, another founder and CEO, this one from Skype.ai. And then the Pepper Group is with George. So looking forward to having them coming on the show. It's going to be another great episode. But until then, I hope everyone has a great night. We're going to go ahead and close us out, and I'll see everyone backstage.